This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Did you know using your browser in incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Take back your privacy with IPVanish VPN. Just one tap and all your data, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be instantly protected. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. Use IPVanish on all your devices, anytime you go online at home and especially on public Wi-Fi. Get IPVanish now for 70% off a yearly plan with this exclusive offer at ipvanish.com/audio.
And
welcome back to the show.
We're coming. Fox. You like that? Big boy's back. Good stuff.
Alrighty, now here we go on a Timberwolves Talker Tuesday, and we here at 9 to noon happen to be quite fired up. Game one of the NBA's Western Conference Finals is tonight at 7:30 on KFAN. Now, you like local, right? So sync up the fan with the game and howl away with the likes of Alan Horton and Jim Petersen. Get the knowledgeable local feel for the game and series, just as we are doing right now to start 9 to noon. Jim Petersen played 8 seasons in the NBA, went to the NBA Finals once after the 85-86 season, and lost to the Boston Celtics. Jim Pete has analyzed Timberwolves basketball on TV and radio for nearly a quarter century, and from OKC, he's nice enough to join us now. My man, Jim Pete, thanks for helping, and welcome back to the place where March 23rd of 2012 was a very big day for you. Do you happen to remember what happened?
March what?
It is March 23rd of 2012, Oklahoma City. Very, very memorable big day for old Jim Pete.
I don't remember. What was it?
Here we go.
Fill me in.
OKC beats Minnesota 149-140 in double OT. Jim,
the Kevin Love game.
Jim was so moved by the game. 3-2. Jim was so moved by the game, he gave the players a courtside standing ovation as they left said court and did so while on television. I mean, that right there was epic. Now, quickly, that game, J.J. Barea and Anthony Tolliver combined for 48 off the bench for the Wolves. And for the Thunder, how about this, Jim Pete? Russell Westbrook scored 45. Kevin Durant played 52 minutes and went for 40 and 17 boards. And a third-year guard from Arizona State named James Harden came off the bench for 25, 6, and 6. Now, do you recall the significance of that day?
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't realize that game was so late, though. I was thinking that the Kevin Love game was earlier, but I didn't realize it was that late yet. Triple double from J.J. Barea. I mean, it was just an epic game. I mean, and that was the time when you thought OKC was going to be a juggernaut for 10 years. You know, they had Sam Presti had done such a nice job of putting that squad together. They moved from Seattle to OKC back in 2008, and Kevin came there then. But I mean, it was something to see. It was. I always say going to see LeBron James. If you've never seen LeBron James play, it's like missing Wayne Gretzky or Mario Lemieux or Joe Montana. or Walter Payton. It's like you have to see these guys when they together. But when you saw Durant, Westbrook, Harden, it was just incredible. PA.
Who was your TV play-by-play guy then? Dave Benz?
No, that was Hanny.
Oh, that was Tom Hanneman. God rest his soul.
Hanny back at that time.
Wow.
And it's like when you see guys give supreme effort. Like I just was. And that was the time, during Timberwolves basketball when it wasn't great. And I'm just I'm a fan of the team. I've been a fan of the team. Bob Stein was my agent. He was the guy that was the first president of the team. I was in Harv and Marv's office at Northwest Swim and Fitness when they were conceiving of the team. But I remember when the easels were up in Marvin's office, and there were all these different iterations of what the Timberwolves logo and name could be. And old Shep was sitting up there in a pencil drawing on an easel in Marv's office. So that's how far back I go with this team. So, that game, I just was a huge Kevin Love fan. I had more love for J.J. Barea than a lot of the fans did in our fan base. Like I loved J.J. when he was in Dallas, playing for Rick Carlisle in Dallas, and I just thought it wasn't the right time for JJ to be on that team. But, I remember the game great. It was a phenomenal Kevin Love game. It was a lot of fun.
I called you after the game, and we never talk on the phone because we lose in overtime. It's a double OT game. Hanny's sitting there talking, and he might have said something to you, and you didn't respond, and then the camera panned over there, and I see the 7-footer giving the players a standing ovation as they left the court because the game was such a good game, man, and I never forgot that. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Jim Pete played 8 seasons, went to the NBA Finals once, and played the Celtics. Now, tonight is when the Western Conference Finals begins, and getting to this level, man, is so hard. Do you think the guys realize that, especially after last year's run?
Oh yeah, this team is battle tested. This is I hear announcers when they work our games or talk about our team on these talking head shows, and they say that we're a young team. Well, Anthony Edwards is young. But he's really not. I mean, like, this is his 4th playoff run, and Jaden McDaniels, he's not a young player anymore. I mean, when you're 5 years into your career, you're not a young player anymore. I mean, and Naz Reid, same thing. I mean, Mike and Rudy, Julius Randle's been around for over 10 years. Like this team is a veteran team that their time is now, and it's one of the reasons why I just love all the things that have happened for this team and for our fan base, starting with, when Gerson Rosas drafted Anthony Edwards. But more than that, though, like, getting Naz Reid, getting Jaden McDaniels, hiring Chris Finch, and then what Tim has done now on the margins. I mean, and, the audacious way that he made the trade for Rudy Gobert, getting Mike Conley, making the trade for Julius Randle, this conglomeration of moves that have happened here to make this team a championship level team. This team can win a championship now. This is not a young team that's waiting their turn. This is their time, and I think that they've paid their dues. OKC is a really good basketball team. Like, I'm not discounting any of that. SGA is a really formidable opponent, but I think that Minnesota matches up with OKC as good or better than any other team in the NBA. Okay, so let's go back 20 some odd years, because you've seen it all, man. With the way this Timberwolves team is playing, the personnel they have, the acumen of the coaching staff, is this the best chance the Timberwolves ever have had to win a title? Well, I always wonder what would happen. I was, texting with he's the really great analyst in Detroit. He's been my friend for a long time, Gregory Kelser. So Greg Kelser, played with Magic at Michigan State, and he's been the analyst. He was the analyst for the Timberwolves back in the early days too, by the way. But he's been with the Pistons for 30 some odd years. He and George Blaha. And Greg and I were texting about the importance of relative health. And I was kind of kidding with Greg. I said, we would have won in 2004 had Sam Cassell not gotten hurt. Right. We lose in the Western Conference Final against the Lakers, but I think the Lakers were were beatable that year. Obviously, the Pistons beat them in the finals, but Kevin Garnett was so dominant and so great. That was his MVP season. And Sam and Spree and KG were a juggernaut. But when Sam got hurt, that really, it's like, you see all these teams get derailed by injuries. It happened in New York last year when Julius got hurt, and all those injuries they had during the playoffs. I mean, Boston kind of waltzed their way through the Eastern Conference to get to the finals. They played a bunch of injury-laden teams. And so, the thing that both of these two teams have been blessed with is relative health. So I think they could have, because I think they would have beaten Detroit, PA, in 2004. We beat them twice that season. I just feel like that was a really good opportunity for us to get a championship. But this one right now, it's just going to be more difficult because as we've ramped up here now, the Lakers were a really good opponent to kind of start off. I think we all kind of felt like it was going to be a difficult matchup, but the Lakers weren't as good defensively. Chris Finch and his staff did such a great job of game planning and going at Luka and exposing him defensively. And then, moving on to the next round, getting into Golden State. I mean, Steph getting hurt is just part and parcel of what the playoffs are about. It's all part of winning a championship. Draymond did a great job post game talking about and elucidating like their playoff runs, about how they got lucky at times too against Cleveland. And then now this is the ultimate opponent. I mean, these two teams are very well matched, evenly matched. When you think about when Julius came back at the beginning of March, because he missed the entire month of February, we played OKC 3 times in that stretch. And Julius and Rudy didn't play, and Dante, he didn't play either. So, I think Dante might have played one of the games, but we weren't at full strength. And Chet was in and out. Hartenstein played in every one of the games. Offensively, from March 1st, Minnesota and Oklahoma City were the two best offensive teams. OKC was number 1 rating-wise, and Minnesota was second. And then net rating-wise, they were 2 of the 4 top teams. So this has been a collision course that's going to happen. Minnesota and OKC were actually the 2 best teams in the Western Conference. We just lost so many clutch games. We didn't become a number 2 seed, but we could have easily been on top of Houston and been a number 2 seed in the conference. But I don't know. I just think it's going to be so much fun. This is what it's all about. And I'm so grateful to Alan Horton and KFAN and being able to do games on radio, to be a part of it, because, I was not a part of it like after the first round in 2004. And I just am so happy to be able to work with Alan and do these games on the road.
That's spectacular. 7:30 tonight, KFAN. Alan Horton, the Vox, joins 9 to noon from OKC, 45 minutes from now. This is Jim Pete at Jim Pete Hoops. 9 to noon is underway. What up? Clearly, you're all prepped up for the game with what you just shared. You're playing very fast right now at 9:12 in the morning. What does OKC do consistently well that might become problematic for the Timberwolves?
Turn you over. I mean, that's going to be a theme that you're going to hear a lot about. I mean, I'm sure Finchie's talked about it, and you're going to talk to Alan later. Alan's going to talk about it a lot. They're just super handsy. And so they're a team that, here's like just a little nugget, like from a defensive standpoint. They led the league in charges by a long margin. They were first with 63 charges on the season. They have multiple guys that take them too. So they had the next closest team was the Lakers at 51, and the Wolves had 23.
Wow!
And Mike had 7 of them. Mike led Minnesota with 7 charges. So
wow!
They are willing to stand in there and take charges. They're gap help. They're tight. They're a tight shell. They're hard to penetrate. If you start trying to back, this is where Julius got into trouble. The one game that he did play against, if you start backing down, if you turn your back on your defender and think you're going to back somebody into the painted area, you're going to be in trouble because they're going to come swipe the basketball. And if Jalen Williams is guarding Julius, it's going to be interesting to see who does guard him. I'm thinking that it's going to be Jalen Williams. He is so good at poking away the basketball, and then when Caruso comes into the game, you saw the way that he defended Jokic, right? I mean, like Alex Caruso is a problem. I've never really seen anybody defend Jokic the way that he did. And I thought it was brilliant the way, one of the best ways to defend somebody, PA, is to not let them catch the basketball.
Right.
Once they get it, like some of these guys, they're so good, but if you can stop them from catching the ball, and that's what Alex Caruso did. So how they defend Julius is going to be very interesting. This is a straight line drive game. You can't be like starting to change directions and overhandling the basketball. Make the easy early pass. It's going to be super key for that. So limiting turnovers. They turn you over. Don't play in crowds. Make the easy early passes. I say that's where Ant's going to be really key. The non-SGA minutes, you've got to win those. It's like when you play against Denver, they talk about the non-Jokic minutes. You got to win the non-SGA minutes.
I like that.
And one of the great things we've done all playoffs long, PA, is we won all those miscellaneous points battles. We won the fast break points, the points off turnovers, the offensive rebounding battle. Like, we've won all those battles. So we may not win the turnover battle, but we can win all those other ones, and we can also make threes. This is a very good three-point shooting team as well, so the Wolves have to keep pace. We basically were the same volume and percentage during the regular season. So it's like I say, these two teams are very evenly matched.
Now, Jim Petersen played with Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon and against the likes of Kevin McHale and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, Dr. J, and so on. So Julius Randle, whether it's players against whom you played or with whom you played, or you have seen the last 20-some-odd years, can you recall high-end players who play the game like Julius Randle? I mean, a football player in gym shorts and tennis shoes.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Julius when he first came. We started the season off in Los Angeles, where he started his career. And after shoot-around before that game, I had a nice conversation with Julius about him being in Minnesota and what it was like for him to play in L.A. and what it was like for him to play with Kobe Bryant. He's one of the last guys in the league that played with Kobe Bryant, by the way.
Wow.
And I told him, I said, Julius, I've loved your game for so long. And PA, you can back me up on this. I mean, I told him, I said, you could play in any era.
Yep.
You could have played in the 80s. You could have played for Pat Riley in New York with the Knicks in the 90s. He's modern. He's got the 3-point shot. He's got the ability to play make and bring the ball up the floor. I just was like, I've really liked his game for a long time. And so he's, I'm trying to compare him to somebody back in the day. I mean, like,
I can't come.
He's better than,
yeah.
I can't come up with anybody that handles the ball like he does and shoots the three.
How about this one? How about a bigger version of Adrian Dantley?
Yeah, that's probably a good one. I mean, like, AD was a monster, was physical, played bully ball, could handle the rock, got to the free throw line, could shoot the three. I mean, like, yeah, that's a pretty good comparison. He was a nightmare, Adrian Dantley was, and I mean, I like it a lot. It's just I just think Julius is, and I think Chris Finch deserves so much credit for doing what he's done in terms of just figuring out problems. Even going back to Rudy Gobert, people said Rudy and Cat couldn't play together. Well, Chris Finch and his staff figured it out. When Julius Randle was traded, I mean, like, think about the narrative about Julius going back to the trade deadline, what people were saying about him. And people were calling for Chris Finch to be fired too, by the way. And I sit back and I just scratch my head and go, what are you people looking at? What do you think? I mean, Chris Finch is since he's been here, all he's done is won. And, there was some difficulty, obviously, end of game situation, and some of that's on him and some of it's not. But, like, I just think that, like, where we've come since February, it's just amazing to me. And that's, that just shows you that winning takes time. And this is what I love about Finch, is that he's got a perspective about the game that it's unwavering. You're not going to throw him off his line. Like, what he believes about basketball and about the time that it takes to incubate a team and to have it be born and be what it ultimately is. I mean, this team is playing the best basketball, and this is exactly the way you want to ramp things up, right?
Right.
With the regular, from preseason to regular season, and you want to be playing your best basketball now. And I think that the way that his coaching staff have played this has been fantastic.
All right, with Chris Finch being part of the bent, Lou Dort for the Thunder is a fine defender. And by the way, good for the Thunder finding him undrafted in 2019. But he's a very physical, fine defender and has been known to give Anthony Edwards some problems. So how does Coach Finch create the matchups he wants, especially with Anthony?
Well, I mean, obviously, there's so much switching that goes on in these situations. So, strategically being able to bring people up into ball screen action and whether it's small pick and roll or instead of having Rudy set or Julius set to get the matchup that you want. That's one of the tried and true ways of getting the matchup that you want is just, make them switch. So that's one way, but, for Anthony Edwards, it's really about him getting off of it because they're going to commit two to the ball, and that's what you got to be able to. If you can get them to do that, that's the ultimate thing that you want offensively. Is that you just want them. But will Ant try to if Hartenstein comes out to hedge on him, try to beat him because Ant can dribble around him and try to beat that double team. That's what he's so good at. Because coach will say you can't do it, you can't do that, and he's like, well, I'm going to try to do it because I think I can do it. And then, you saw him do it in the Lakers series, and you saw him do it in the Golden State series. And so, we'll see how that works out. But, I so much goes into all this. Just talking with these guys about all the coverages that they have to execute and, what these players have to do now, PA, versus what we had to do earlier in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. They expect a lot of these guys, game plan wise, to be, and also to make adjustments and through all of it too. So it's just going to be an amazing chess match. Dagnall gets so much credit for being his genius coach, and I tell you what, for Chris Finch, that's motivation for him,
right?
You know what I mean? Because Dagnall gets all this love and stuff, and I think Finchy just really enjoyed, beating JJ Redick, and then of course Steve Curry's got a lot of respect for him, but that's a pretty good coach they beat last round as well. So this is going to be the ultimate test for him as as a competitive guy.
Time for two more for Jim Pete calling the game with Alan Horton on KFAN tonight, 7:30, and at Jim Pete Hoops via the tweet machine. Follow for some sweet basketball opinions. Now, back in February when the Wolves came from 24 down to beat these guys in overtime, Finch was frustrated after the game and said, quote, "You can't touch Shea," end quote. SGA went to the line 17 times that game. Does Shea Gilgeous-Alexander get the Jordan rules from the refs?
Well, he definitely gets a favorable whistle, that's for sure. You can't touch him. He's very good. This is where matchups matter too. That's another interesting thing that in terms of I think what they're contemplating in terms of how to match up with Shea, because Jaden is just of course it's going to be Jaden that's going to guard Shea, but statistically it hasn't been the best thing for Minnesota. I mean, Jaden Shea has scored, I don't want to get in the weeds with numbers, but 1.4 points per chance for Shea Gilgeous-Alexander against Jaden McDaniels. 1.4, that's a big number. Shea averaged 35 a game against us and shot 51%, shot 55% from three.
Damn.
And so Jaden, yes, he's an elite level defender. And one of the things that bothers Shea is length. And the thing you can't do against Shea is you can't press up on him. So that's where Jaden would get into trouble sometimes, I think, is pressing up. You have to give him a little bit of a little space so that he can't try to pull you into his foul drawing web. And, it's going to be interesting to see what Finchy does, PA, because one of the best defenders that I've seen that have guarded SGA in Timberwolves history is Jalen Clark.
Wow.
Jalen Clark did a tremendous job when Minnesota had all those injuries and he got a chance to play.
Yep.
Jalen Clark did a great job on SGA. And then Ant is also a good matchup for SGA. And who's going to guard? I think having someone like Julius Randle on Jalen Williams for Minnesota is a good matchup because Jalen Williams is a physical dude. He is physical. And yes, it would put Julius into ball screen actions and stuff like that. But I think Julius would be a good matchup. Then who guards Chet Holmgren? I think Jaden McDaniels guarding Chet, and Jaden did that. We had a home win against OKC where Jaden guarded Chet, and I just thought Jaden did a great job. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously with Ant, if you put him on SGA, you're jeopardizing your situation of Ant maybe perhaps getting into foul trouble.
Right.
So there is that. But the physicality of Anthony Edwards, if Ant could just stay out of the reaching mode, I think he could also be. I just think of the adjustment of it. Jaden's going to start on SGA, but I'm thinking that could this be a Jalen Clark series? Could he get some run here, or situationally at least, to come in and guard Shea if he starts hurting us? So, I mean, this is where the chess match is gonna be vital for Minnesota. And
Clark started 3 of those 4 games because of the injuries to Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, and Dante DiVincenzo. All right, last one. Wow, that analysis was fantastic, Jim. Thank you very much. These bigs the Thunder use, it can't be disputed, are 10 times better than what the Wolves saw with the Lakers and the Warriors. So Jaden McDaniels with Holmgren maybe, but overall, what are the best routes to handling Holmgren and Hartenstein?
One of the things that teams have done against OKC is because Hartenstein, I mean, he's not a three-point threat. He shot 19 of them. He didn't make a single one. So you're not worried about him shooting threes. He spends a lot of time at the top of the floor, screening and handling the basketball. It's going to, I think they have 3 different coverages for Rudy for him to be able to execute. They'll work inside and outside of paradigms of when SGA's on the floor versus when he's off the floor. Rudy will have different coverages if Hartenstein's in the game. So they tend to pair Jalen Williams with Hartenstein when they start substituting, and they tend to pair SGA with Chet. So when Rudy's on the floor guarding Hartenstein, they do something called mucking it up, just muck it up. Don't guard him. Be in the middle of the paint because they want to come at you. This is a driving team. OKC wants to get to the rim. They want to get to the rim. They want to shoot threes. Obviously, Shea has mid-range game. But to the extent that Rudy can muck things up and, be in the middle of the paint and kind of protect, Rudy's going to be a problem, too, for them. If they think they can put Chet Holmgren on Jaden and get away with that, Jaden's going to attack them. If they think they can put Chet on Rudy, and if they can let these guys roam off of Rudy, they're going to have a problem because Rudy's going to offensive rebound the basketball. So you got to account for Rudy on Minnesota's offensive end, but defensively, I just think it's going to be very interesting to see the extent that Rudy can patrol the paint and kind of protect the rim area. So, OKC will go small end of game too. They'll play Caruso at the 5. So their finishing lineups will be different. They've changed their rotations a bit here in this Denver series, which kind of makes things a little interesting. But who they close with is going to be fascinating. Minnesota, they have a lot of versatility. In fact, the leading scorer in the series for Minnesota this year has been Naz Reid. Naz Reid led Minnesota in scoring. So Naz is going to have a big part to play. And by the way, if you look at Naz Reid's game log for his career, he loves playing against OKC. It's one of his most productive teams. So Naz, for some reason, just feels super confident in this building. He's had some big games here, and he's also had some big games at Target Center against OKC.
I can't wait to time up KFAN, the radio, with the TV broadcast tonight, and I encourage many to do that, as it's been proven by the metrics that we have here. A lot of people are turning down the TV sound and turning up Alan Horton and Jim Petersen during this playoff run, and you can understand why off that analysis you just heard. God bless you, brother. Tell Tika I say hello, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and enjoy the game tonight, okay?
Okay, thanks for having me on, PA. Hey, say hi to Rick Kamla for me, will you? He's a great guy. We did the NBA draft together back in 2000.
Wow.
At Target.
Oh, geez. At Target Center, 2000. And Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has ruined our feed with Jim Petersen. He's gone. it's a turnover taken by the team that takes the ball from the adversary and takes the call from the adversary more than anybody in the history of the NBA.
You know that was going to be a great story, too.
Elite. I mean, seriously, it's after 25 and a half minutes. I could have taken another 3 listening to Jim Pete tell stories, courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com. What's on deck 9 to noon includes a lot. Now, stand by. After the cash thing and a short pause, we share routes to a wonderful prize package for a Tuesday talkback. Because all we do is give until we can't give anymore. You're listening to 9 to noon. I'm Paul Allen. Nordo produces, and he has the cash thing.
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Go to KFAN.com, enter the keyword bills. You might win $1,000 with the keyword bills. Some bonus bucks. KFAN.com.
Fan.
Bam! What? There we go, Paul! That's how Timberwolves talkbacks. All right, start filing the reports now, please. How do they beat this vaunted 1 seed? Are you feeling a trip to the NBA Finals, and why for the Timberwolves? Or with these T-Wolves talkbacks, maybe start one like this and fill in the blank with a why. Like, they came to see SGA and they left talking about, and insert which Wolves player you would like to insert and why. They came to the arena talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but left talking about how, and why. All are invited in to the text and talk back more than people know covenant. Free iHeart audio app. Farmers, we got you though. Tractor talkbacks on this rainy Tuesday could leave with a prize. And
prize pack?
For more on that, well, there he is.
Kidding me?
An excited Con, ready to howl 10 hours from now. Opening tip tap about 10 hours from now. You'll be listening to Alan and Jim at FM 100.3 KFAN. And the leader of the Howe Covenant, Eric Nordquist, has a more on the Sukup Manufacturing prize package for a tractor talkback.
Thank you, Sukup Manufacturing. Yeah, double duty today in the talkback machine. I want to hear about the howl, but then for you farmers out there, where are you at and what are you farming? It's that easy. Free iHeart Radio app. Hit the microphone. Give us up to your best 30 seconds. One of you at the end of the show today is going to win a prize pack. That prize pack, courtesy of Sukup Manufacturing, is going to include a Carhartt cooler, Brewmate canteen, portable JBL speaker, coffee tumbler, hoodie, and Sukup baseball cap. So thank you, Sukup, and thank you for listening to 9 to noon. Let's get those talkbacks rolling throughout the show.
And tomorrow 9 to noon, we are at Glitzy Omni Hotel in Eagan for the NFL owners meetings. That's tomorrow 9 to noon. We are going to be on Howl Prowl for the likes of Jerry Jones and Bobby Kraft. Nordo wants to find Arthur Blank and ask him, how did that Cuz Buzz thing work out for you last year? Some topics.
Hey, Arthur!
Right. Anybody ever call you Art? Some topics about which they are convening for the owners' bit tomorrow include, but are not limited to, the boring tush-push topic, potential change to playoff seeding, and perhaps the onside kick becoming more than a 2% chance for the kicking team to actually capture the football.
Yeah, I know. Later on we'll connect about how we're going to put the show together, and we got several guests on the way. It's going to be a lot of fun. Are you thinking more middle hour or maybe dedicating the 11 o'clock hour to analyzing potential rule changes to special teams, PA? I think that's going to be a big part of the show construction tomorrow.
Yeah, I think if the Timberwolves win tonight and open a 1-0 lead on Oklahoma City and steal home court, we'll probably start talking about the tush-push and then move into rules changes, then go over the college free agents for every team in the National Football League, then maybe drop in a howl.
Yeah.
But of course, we are going to be howling from the lobby at the Omni.
Yeah.
And
there's good food there. Doug Williams will be in the lobby on his phone. We'll see John Elway, the whole bit. Luminaries, and it's right here in our city.
Yours truly is hoping David Tepper likes the sound of the howling, bellowing through the lobby and up the elevator shafts.
Think he'll throw a drink at us?
I certainly hope not, because he might douse us with one if he's negative on the howl.
Big Hornets guy.
Hey, look here. We have nothing to do with LaMelo Ball, David. Okay? Nothing. So get away from us, please.
The Mark Williams trade?
Yeah, I'm sorry. But
loves Dalton Connect.
We're really, really hoping Jimmy Haslam is up to speed on how Chris Finch uses floppy action to his advantage against OKC and the impact it has on Game 1. Nordo plans to ask Jimmy why he wanted Deshaun Watson so badly and is wondering, how's that working out for him and his old Brownies? Well, Jimmy Haslam. Maybe Shad Khan's favorite player is Rudy Gobert, and we can dissect the 5 blocks he's going to have tonight. Whew. Against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Love that.
9 to noon tomorrow, NFL owners meetings at the Omni in Eagan. Win or lose, your Timberwolves are the A topic, and we'll have another excellent Sioux Cup prize to deliver to a talkback from the tractor in the combine covenant with silos full of speculation. That's 9 to noon tomorrow from the Omni Hotel. When we return, Minnesota native and elite basketball mind Rick Kamla joins the Covenant on your home for Timberwolves basketball, FM 100.3 KFAN, your audio home for everything funky, Finchy, and fun.
Man.
Friend, it's a Covenant catch-up. A dear friend of mine from many, many years gone by. He's an Edina native. His name is Rick Kamla. At Rick Kamla Sports is where you learn more about him via the X Machine. And he does a lot of stuff, TV, radio, podcasting, writing for Sports Ethos. And Ricky joins us now. I followed Sports Ethos on Twitter because I know how hard you work, Rick. And there were a bunch of Cam posts with cool nuggets. So what's Sports Ethos, and good morning?
PA, what's going on, man? Sports Ethos is a fantasy sports website. We do NBA, WNBA, MLB, NFL. We're talking about kind of branching out into some other sports. But we have a lot of the top names in the industry. I can tell you this, PA, in terms of basketball, with me, Steve Alexander, Aaron Bruschi, there is no better fantasy basketball content on planet Earth. You have the inventor, you have 2 guys that popularized it. So we're balling, man, and we're growing. And it's great to be on the air with you, bro.
Likewise, I miss you. Okay, now hold on. Steve Alexander from, as in Dr. A's Ho Train from League Freak like 20 years ago?
That's correct. That guy.
Wow, he was elite in League Freak. Holy cow. Yeah, and League Freak continues, a fantasy basketball league you started a quarter century ago, my brother.
I love it. I may come back this year if I get an invite. I may. I've kind of been going in and out, and the entry fee is a little steep for League Freak these days. The league I created is now totally out of my control, which is fine. But I may get back in if they reach out to me.
Jim Petersen started 9 to noon, and he requested we say hello to you. And he was hearkening to 2000 when you guys did an NBA draft show together. And Jim Pete's a big fan of yours, man.
I love Jim Pete, man. Shout out to the coach. One of the best broadcasters we have in the NBA, one of the brightest minds we have covering the NBA. I know you'll remember this. You remember all this stuff. Me and Jim Petersen, that once upon a time they had a Minnesota Summer League. And I think they only did it for 1 year. I can't even remember. But me and Jim Petersen were sitting courtside at Target Center doing Summer League games a million years ago. It's called the Minnesota Summer League. And obviously the Vegas Summer League has just engulfed everything now. But once upon a time we did games for the Minnesota Summer League. Shout out to Pete.
And lastly, as the Covenant catch-ups go, our mutual friend Paul Charchian, who just relocated to Utah full-time, is going to live in Utah full-time. He reminds me, off this last season, you took him down in a fantasy basketball championship, and it was very dramatic. You just had to beat Charchie, didn't you?
Well, I did, and we had a little battle. It's my second title in a row in the Cam Dynasty. Next year, I'll be going for a three-peat. I've kind of broken the league, PA, through some trades. I picked up Jalen Green, Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray through bundle trades, in addition to like a solid core. So my team's a Goliath, and I took Charge out. So we were battling crying strategy. So he tried to sort of sandbag and, it's over. Dude, I had a Dembona had a good game on Monday of championship week. So he screenshotted a Dembona. Your listeners don't even know who the hell that is. Promising young big for Philly. So he had a good line. Chart screenshots the line from a Dembona. In PA, it was like 9.7 boards, 3 blocks, 2 steals, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, these are the lines that win a championship. Good for you. Congrats, or something like that. And I was like, oh, no, you don't. So we were doing the crying strategy back and forth, and it's an annoying strategy, but it's very effective, and I was able to prevail.
That's spectacular. That's spectacular. Now to the lesson at hand. All right, and there is a PA in public service announcement, and here we go. The T-Wolves were Rick Kamla's favorite team for decades. He's from Edina. You abandoned them and now want back on the bandwagon. What do you have to say for yourself about that, Mr. Kamla?
So I didn't abandon them.
Yes, you did.
I boycotted them.
Oh, you boycotted, right. Okay.
Boycotted.
Right.
And
So,
PA, here's why I boycotted the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Glenn Taylor. Okay? Glenn Taylor, phenomenal businessman, probably philanthropist, done a great thing, bunch of great stuff in the community. I don't know all the details on that. I am not indicting the man. I am indicting the owner of a basketball team. An absolutely dreadful job for decades and decades and decades. The Joe Smith death sentence, passing on Steph Curry twice because you foolishly hired David Kahn. What were you thinking? So that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's been a myriad of other mistakes. Coaching firings when you shouldn't have, missing on 1 million draft picks. And so I had to boycott PA. I'm still divorced from the Vikings because I just can't do the torture. I can't do the disappointment anymore. I've just risen above it. But I'm back on the Wolves, PA, because Glenn Taylor finally sold his frickin' team. I mean, it takes the guy 3 years to sell a basketball team. It's insane. So the lid has been lifted off. The Wicked Witch is dead, and the Wolves can now win a championship. So I have lifted my boycott. I'm back. And let's howl at the wolf or something, man. But I'm back. I'm stoked. I don't know if our boys are going to beat OKC, but I'm back on the bandwagon.
Yeah, not exactly sure how the Minnesota Vikings caught a stray in this Timberwolves conversation, but nevertheless they did. And, we'll see where they go this year. Maybe there will be an annulment to that divorce. Do you? Do you think they beat Oklahoma City, or is it a 50-50 kind of series? In the 4 this year, Julius and Rudy Gobert missed 3 of the 4. I'm sure you know all this. You're an elite NBA mind. Jalen Clark started 3 of them. Naz Reid has the best games he's ever had in his life against OKC. Holmgren missed 2 of them. But every time they get together, meat grinder games, man. Do you think they beat OKC?
I think they beat them 3 times. This series is going 7. PA, I want the Wolves to win. I feel like it's SGA's time. I just feel like they're north of where the Wolves are. I mean, that's pretty obvious record-wise and just a lot of stuff, metrics and rankings. And, I mean, they are the best team in the NBA. There's no debate about that. Now, if the Minnesota Timberwolves can beat them, then now they have a chance to be the best team. But you got to go prove that. OKC has every base covered, PA. You know this. They have size. They have shooting. They have defense. They have depth. They have coaching. They have love fest. They have cohesion. They have a great home court advantage. Dude, there are no weaknesses, okay? Oh, Dort's in foul trouble. Cool. They put Caruso on you. Caruso's in foul trouble. All right, Isaiah Joe, come on in there. Sick him. I mean, they just got dudes on dudes on dudes. PA, the key to this series is going to be Ant-Man. And how Jordan does he go? How Kobe does he go? Because when he gets pissed, when he gets serious, when he gets really maniacal, he becomes that guy and they win that game. But he flirts with it and he comes in and out of it. Like, what was that last game? I'm blanking, so many games. But the last game of the Golden State series, they're meeting him at half court. They're trapping him. They're getting the ball out of his hands. And I remember Conley after the game's talking about, Ant-Man made all the right reads and this kind of stuff. And I mean, that's high-level basketball stuff. But I don't need Ant-Man to let the defense dictate to him what he's going to do. And he does that from time to time. What you got to do if they're going to catch you at half court, get off the ball, cut, get a cut pass back, and then you're reloaded like the Warriors do with Steph Curry all the time. You catch him one way, he darts the other. Draymond hits him a little sideways pass, and boom, he's right back with the rock. So I need Ant-Man to be a full-time killer, not a part-time killer. And he's working his way towards being a full-time killer, but he's not there yet. That's the progression. If he can get to a full-time killer, the Wolves are going to win this series.
Who do you like in the Indiana Knicks series?
I can't bet against Brunson, PA. He's my favorite player in the NBA. He is one of the most elite competitors I've ever seen. He has become the best closer in the NBA. He has passed Bron, Steph, Jokic, SGA, Booker, Durant. I mean, we go on and name a name. I will take Brunson with my team down 1, 5 seconds left. I mean, dude, the crossover of death on Oscar Thompson to win the Detroit series, it's the greatest crossover of all time. I mean, literally, Oscar's got a blanket on him, hits him with this murderous crossover, 2 hard dribbles to the right, pull-up 3-ball, all of it with a split second to spare while Oscar recovered and almost got there. And, I don't know. They've got Neesmith that they could put on him. I love Neesmith, but Neesmith ain't stopping Jalen Brunson. Nobody can stop Jalen Brunson. The guy's a walking 30-point guy. Love the Indiana side, too, PA. They're deep. They've got a ton of talent. They've got shooting. They've got Halliburton, who performs magic with some of these late-game comebacks and shots and that kind of stuff. But I got to go with my boy Brundog, man. I got Knicks in 7.
If the Timberwolves and Knicks happen to meet in the finals, do you think that'll be some of the greatest sports drama in the history of Minnesota sports?
No question. I mean, the Wolves in the NBA Finals, are you kidding me? Yeah. Because the Vikings, they've had all of these, Super Bowl-ready teams are purported, like last year. I knew Sam Darnold was going to spit the bit. I knew that. I saw that coming a million miles away. That didn't surprise me at all. It behooves the Vikings that he's with Seattle right now. It really does. Darnold wasn't going to come back and have another year like that. Caught another stray, PA. But yeah, I mean, the Vikings, all they do is tease. And I feel like the Wolves are building towards something special because last year, PA, they're in the West Finals. They're right back in the West Finals. Okay. So they're one of the MFN teams right now. Okay. Like they are there. They're a true core championship contender. And it might not be this year, but they're going to get a chip one of these years, PA.
All right. Well, then take it a step farther. I mean, because from a drama standpoint, yes, a Minnesota team getting to a championship game or series, that would be fantastic. And for the first time, in 3.5 decades. So is there a winner in the Karl Anthony Towns deal? I mean, Julius Randle arguably has been the best overall player for the Timberwolves this playoff run.
Well, I think it's possible for both sides to win a trade.
Right.
I look at the Halliburton and Sabonis trade, and I know people are, Halliburton's way better than Sabonis. No, he's not.
Right.
Sabonis is a Hall of Famer, man.
Right.
It's an absolute travesty that he has not been an all-star the last 2 years. It just doesn't make sense to me. The numbers he's putting up are crazy. He's on a moderate winner. Who won more? Okay, Indiana won more, but Sac won that trade too. At the time they had Fox and Halliburton. It was too much, like players. But to the Knicks and Wolves trade, PA, both teams won. Both teams are still alive. Both teams are in the conference finals. Cat was a core MVP candidate. A lot of people had Giannis and that kind of thing. To me, Cat was number 3 on the MVP list. SGA, Jokic, Cat. That's the kind of year he had. So that's a win for New York. I think New York's taken a little bit of an L in terms of the consolidation, and now their bench sucks. But, hey, their starting 5 is absolutely bad to the bone. And then the Wolves flesh out their bench with Dante. Julius Randle, who I've always been a fan of. I mean, the guy's a 20-10-5 guy. Not with the Wolves because the stats have changed a little bit, but when he was at New York, he was a 20-10-5 guy. So I've always been a Randle supporter, a Randle apologist. I love the way he's playing right now because it's a huge FU to everybody who's been dumping on him all these years. And incorrectly, all these New York fans, PA, right? I don't like Julius Randle. He just puts his head down, dribbles, and goes to the basket. He doesn't play defense, blah, blah, blah. He's got a different style of play. It's an old school 90s hard hat, burly, get out of my way style of play. But I like it. It's aggressive. The guy plays to win. He's available. He plays hurt. I'm a huge fan, man. So I think both teams won that trade.
All right, and lastly here, Mr. Rick Kamla, the Oklahoma City team played Sunday. The Timberwolves haven't played in nearly a week. Who do you think has the advantage in that scenario?
No one. Everybody loses. These breaks in between games are I almost cussed. Like, are you how are the Knicks and the Pacers not playing until Wednesday? What is up with that?
Right.
Dude, the Knicks played on Friday. Game 6 against Indiana. Indiana hasn't played in 2 weeks, bro. Like, I don't get it. Like, let's go. Baseball, games. Hockey, games. Basketball. Oh, let's take a week off in the middle of the playoffs. It just doesn't make any sense to me. PA, I don't even like playing the rest game. These are the most finely tuned athletes in the world. They have a gold ball to play for. There should be no talk about rest. There should be no talk about motivation. It's go freaking win it. And so that's my answer. I don't, this whole rest thing, we got to get guys off the floor and load management. I think it's a bunch of garbage, dude.
Hey, unlike your sharing today 9 to noon, which was antithetical to garbage, it was gold. Just like stuff that I've seen the last couple of days at Sports Ethos, man. Congratulations on that opportunity at Sports Ethos. If you would like to learn more, Rick, as you just heard here, does a wonderful work with at Sports Ethos. Have a great day, brother, and I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Yeah, love you, brother. Shout out to Minnesota. Let's go get a chip with these Wolves, man. Howl!
Thanks, buddy. A Kamla howl out of nowhere. Didn't even ask for it. Oh, man.
Love it.
This whole radio show's beginning to sound like 400 on the money line on the Wolves at plus fat money. Jeez, holy cow. Into the middle portion of the show. And Alan Horton, the Radio Vox, works with Jim Pete. He'll be joining us from OKC next on KFAN.